Hello, everybody. I hope everyone is staying safe and washing those hands, and hope everybody's ready to get back in the swing of things this week for some more learning. Our reading lesson this week is going to be compare and contrast two texts. And while there are lots of texts out there that we can compare and contrast, there's also stories that we can compare. We've all heard the story of the three little pigs. So I thought today I would give you the true story of the three little pigs, and we could work on some compare and contrast between those two stories. Now, before we start, I want you to think about a few things while I'm reading. Be thinking about these things. I want you to think about the characters in both stories. I want you to think about the three little pigs and the true story of the three little pigs. Think about, do we have the same characters or maybe some different characters? I want you to think about the setting. Where does this story take place? Is it the same in both or is it different? I want you to think about the beginning, the middle, and the end. Are there some similarities or differences in any of those? And then last, I want you to think about the problem. Is it the same problem in both stories, or do we have a whole new problem? Do we have a different problem? All right, let's go ahead and get started. The true story of the three little pigs. Everybody knows the story of the three little pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because our diet. Hey, it's not my fault if wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies, sheep, and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But, like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar, so I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone's house. So I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without my cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed, and I sneezed a great big sneeze. And you know what? The whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have that cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little bit smarter, but not much. He had built his house of sticks. I rang up the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in there? He yelled back, go away, Wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and snuffed, and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great big sneeze. You're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now you know how food is spoiled if you leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little bit better. And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old sweet granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family, but he built his house of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in there? And do you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here, whoop! Don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack of sugar. He wouldn't give me even one little cup from my dear, sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home, maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake, when I felt my sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, and your old granny can sit on a pen. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar. It didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all the huff and puff and blow your house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. Now think about what I asked guys as I was reading this. The characters, do we have the same characters or are there different characters between the two stories? Was the setting the same? Did we have the beginning, the middle, and the end? Do we have anything different or anything that was the same? And then even the problem. Did I introduce a new problem in the story or was it the same problem for both of the stories? I hope you all have a fabulous day and I hope you're working hard on those ready workbooks and all those other sites that you've got to work on. Have a great day, guys.